To begin, start by stating your name for me, please.
Okay, my name is Bao Qianzhi, and you can call me Tina as well.
Tina, great. I'm Jamie, as I mentioned. It's nice
Yes.
to meet you, of course.
Okay.
So I have your resume here, but why don't you start by telling me a little about where you are currently in your career, academic and otherwise?
Okay, and I was born in Jiangsu Suzhou, which is a really beautiful city in China, and I'm now a student at Macau University of Science and Technology. My major is business analytics, which is a field of big data, something like that. And I'm really enthusiastic and passionate about this field.
Sure. Right. You've had a number of relevant and interesting internships here, as well as some research experience. What led you to want to be involved in big data and business analytics in the first place?
Because I think this area is really sexy and magical to my perspective. Because let us imagine that if we do not have those data classification method or data analytics method, then the figure will be lifeless. But if we apply those methods and cutting edge technology to the different data, then it can bring out and present so much information for us. So let me give you an example. And like this coronavirus, we all know that Johns Hopkins University made an epidemic map. And actually, I logged into this website to see the map very often, and to my surprise, every time when I click on the certain region, it can clearly show the infected people and the number of the deaths, and also something about hospital like ICU wards and the number of beds. So I think this can help the government and the countries to act immediately to forecast the situation and to act immediately to control and to act. Yes, so
Okay.
I think this is really important, and I would like to make efforts to this field and I want to make a difference to our community.
Sure. Yeah, great example, great goals. So it seems to me in your explanation there that it's not just the processing of big data. It's not just bringing to life otherwise lifeless or contextless figures. It's part of it is the user interface and sort of the delivery of the data as much as the analysis of the data. Do I understand that correctly, or am I overweighting the importance of the interface and the delivery?
I think the process is also interesting and important to me, but the actual outcome and result of data analysis process is actually much beyond our expected, because it has so much benefits to us human beings.
Okay. Can you give an example of how you've benefited from big data? Obviously, the pandemic information could apply, but something else would be a good example here.
Yes, and I will share with you my internship experience last year when I was an algorithm intern at Alibaba. And at that time, I used data of automobile maintenance of 4S stores to predict the market trend, and which can help our manager to judge when and where the promotion should be carried out. So firstly, I should understand and analyze each row of the diagrams, and then I made the data classification and do some data cleaning based on the original data. And secondly, I visualize the data by means of different diagrams and show the trends and show the scattering, something like that. Mm-hmm. And thirdly, which is the most defining and important part, is feature engineering. And lastly, I built a model on recurrent neural network, and I got the scores and results. But at first, the scores was not as high as I expected. It was really low. And I asked my manager about this, and he asked me to pay more attention on the feature engineering part. So this time, I dig into the actual relationship between the rows, and I added some new dynamic features and static features into the whole feature engineering diagrams, like the age of the cars and what regions the car is in, because this all matters on whether the users will maintain their cars. So after I finished my feature engineering part, I got a high score of 0.8, and this was highly recognized by my manager, and he said that I made contributions to the company's user stickiness.
Sure. Yeah,
yes,
0.859,
really
even better. You're selling yourself short there. What was your score before you did you added some of the dynamic elements about, region and age of the vehicle?
Maybe 0.6, about 0.6.
Huge improvement then. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but not that high. 0.8 is much better.
I'm impressed either way, but yeah, you've obviously done a good job there. So you mentioned several of the steps here. Feature engineering seems to be the key step, right? That's where you're.
Yes.
Is that where you're doing the modeling? Are you, or what kind of features are you building? Is that to extract data? Tell me about that.
And actually, whether the model will perform good or not is based on the features that we use, and the more it matters on its intended roles, the more it matters. So we gave them a bigger weight, which means that it has a bigger correlation with the intended.
Okay, so that's where you're weighting all of the various factors. Where do you how do you determine the coefficients that do the weighting?
So I use modeling and some package in the Python, which is a vital and important programming tool that we use. And to do this, I also use some knowledge we study in schools, like random forest, something like that.
Like what?
Random forest.
Random forest. I'm not familiar with that. Is that something that you can explain, or is that getting too deep in the forest?
And this is a method that we in the diagram we have so many different rows and so many different features, and we actually sometimes we don't know how to do the weightings. And random forest means that every time when we make a model, we random choose some of them and to compare what combination is the best and which combination does the best to the scores.
I see, right?
Yeah.
Very interesting process, start to finish. When I think about these processes, data cleaning always seems to me to be a likely introduction of human error. Am I imagining that, or is that a big problem?
Yes, I think data cleaning is also an important part, because sometimes there are so many false or wrong data in the diagram, so we have to clean it out, like some miles that are really, really big, that it almost expand the lifespan of the car, that is really unrealistic. So we should clean it out to make our final scores and final results as good as we expect.
Sure. Yeah, fair enough, right? So can you, is it possible to compare, how you might project coupon use versus how you might project car mileage? Are they more similar than they are different, or are they more different than they are similar, the process of arriving at those results?
I think the process is similar, but there are still some differences. Like under different business scenarios, we have to fit as much as we can to fit in the real business world. And coupons means whether the user will use a coupon, and the mileage is whether the users will maintain their cars. These are totally different things. So we have the different methods and different diagrams on this, because coupon is more like a timely data. Yes.
Sure.
And yes.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt if you had more to say.
Oh no, I all did this in a team, and I was a leader in both of the project.
Very nice.
Yes.
Okay, so how was your leadership experience there? Was that comparable between the two projects, or did you encounter different obstacles related to leadership, unrelated to the differences in the analysis?
Yes. Before sharing my own experience, I would like to share my understandings of leadership. And I think I don't believe in some people who says leaders are born to be the leaders. On the contrary, I think leaders made themselves to be the leaders, because they can figure out what their strengths and what the team's strength is. And they can make the full use of it. They are not the smartest or the highest IQ person in the company or the team. So to me, I know exactly my strength is to encourage people, but my encouragement is not like just, you are the best, you can do it, something like that. No, more than that, my encouragement is to let my teammates to speak out their disagreements bravely. So last time, just like the coupon usage project, there are 2 shy girls in my team, and I was a leader of that team at that time. And at first, they approve every decision and every plan that I made. They say, yes, we will do this. But after I had a small talk with them, I said, you should speak out your own disagreements or your questions, or else our team won't boost out the highest production. And later, I see their changes. And they started questioning my plans, the ideas, the assumptions, and even gave out their own substitute plans. And I think this is really great things. And I was also enjoy myself in such teams, because when my teammates boost their ideas off, this can also it had also inspired myself to think of more creative ideas and plans to best the team. So although my team was not the most outstanding and most perfect team in the whole grade, but I think my team was definitely the most creative and most productive team.
Most creative, most productive, strong superlatives there. Maybe the best version of your team that your team could be. That's all you could hope for as a leader, I suppose. So if you weren't a born leader, how did you develop such insightful leadership awareness and abilities?
So sorry, could you please
you mentioned that you don't think leaders are born. You think it's a developmental process, right? How did you develop into the strong leader that you have become? What led you down that path?
So I think a good leader, and as I just mentioned, should figure out what the strength is. But if it doesn't have enough strength, because I think everyone has a strength, if somebody thinks they don't have enough strength, they didn't figure it out yet. And I think every strength has their suitable situation, a suitable place that people will value them. For example, like for people listens and can summarize teammates' opinions very great, then there must be her team leadership style, and her team will be more like positive and something like that. Yes,
sure.
So to me, I like watching some TED's English speech on leadership, which can also build my leadership sense and.
Did you say TED as in TED Talks? Is that what you said, or was it something else that I missed? Where do you go for TED? What was that?
TED. Yes, TED. It's a like English speech platform. There's so many professors or managers
so maybe you are talking TED. Is that what we're saying? Yeah. Just making sure I understand the same thing. Okay, yes. Yeah, that's great stuff. Great source of information. All right, so if leaders aren't born, right, they're made. Is there anything that you were born to do, or is everything like that? Are you made and developed into being what you are or will become?
Is it born to be? Yes, I think I'm born to be like good to observe people. I like to observe people that in my surroundings, and I think I have intuitive sense of what those people can do or cannot do. So in the team, when I have this kind of ability, I can assign properly the tasks to different kind of people. Like this classmate was good at writing and good logical link. So maybe the writing project part is more good for her. And if another student is good at maybe programming, and although he didn't speak too much, he's good at programming, and I will let him do much this kind of work.
Sure. Yeah, very wise indeed. So thank you for sharing that. With that, we are at the end of the interview, however. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about, or anything that we have talked about that you want to talk about more to highlight about yourself for any admission officers who may be watching this video?
Yes, and in the future, actually, I would like to address more a wide range of social concerns like female information security, females health, and also children abduction, because I often read news about children abduction, and I was really upset and mad about the bad guy who abducted children from their original families, and their parents just look for them desperately but couldn't get any results. So I think the facial recognition project that I have once completed is a good fit and good way to address this kind of bad things, because compared to the traditional way of DNA method, facial recognition is a much efficient and high effective way to recognize children and even their original family. So I want to make efforts to this kind of area too.
Sure. Yeah, strong case to be made there in favor of facial recognition technology. Thank you for sharing that, in addition to everything else that you did. With that, that will conclude the interview, but thanks a lot for taking the time to speak with me today. It was a pleasure.